Jake Miller stopped walking and listened to the forest around him. Something was wrong. The birds had gone quiet, and he could smell smoke in the air. After 4 years as a Marine and 3 years guiding hunters through these Montana woods, he knew when nature was telling him to pay attention. He adjusted his backpack and walked toward the smell. The trees got thicker as he climbed the hill, but the smoke got stronger too. Then he heard it. A low humming sound that made his teeth hurt. It was not like any machine he knew. Jake pushed through a wall of pine branches and stopped. In front of him was a crater 20 feet wide. At the bottom lay something that looked like a silver egg, but it was as big as a small house. Metal pieces were scattered everywhere, and some of them were still glowing red hot. This was not a plane crash. Jake had seen plenty of those during his time in the military. This thing was smooth and had no wings or engines he could see. Strange symbols covered its surface, and they seemed to shift and change when he looked at them directly. He pulled out his phone to call for help, but there was no signal. There never was this deep in the woods. Jake looked around and made sure he was alone. Then he climbed down into the crater. The metal was warm under his hands as he walked around the crashed ship. He found what looked like a door, but it was sealed shut. Jake took out his knife and tried to pry it open. Nothing happened. He was about to give up when the door suddenly opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed out, and Jake stepped back. The smell hit him first. It was like copper mixed with something sweet he could not name. He took out his flashlight and looked inside. The interior was dark and filled with strange equipment. Lights blinked on panels he did not understand. But what made him freeze was the body lying on the floor. It was huge, at least 7 feet tall, and covered in what looked like silver scales. The creature wore some kind of armor that was cracked and broken. Blue liquid pooled beneath it, and Jake realized this was blood. Jake had seen enough wounded soldiers to know this thing was dying. Its chest rose and fell slowly, and the blue blood kept flowing from deep cuts across its arms and legs. Whatever. This creature was in bad shape. He should have run. Every smart part of his brain told him to get out of there and let someone else deal with this. But Jake had never been good at leaving wounded soldiers behind, even when they were not human. He climbed into the ship and knelt beside the creature. Up close, he could see it was female. Her face was almost human, but her eyes were larger and her teeth were sharper. Her skin was not really scales, but something that looked like metal but felt warm like flesh. Jake had been a combat medic before he got out of the Marines. The training kicked in without him thinking about it. He checked her pulse and found it weak but steady. The blue blood was coming from 3 deep cuts on her side. He opened his first aid kit and got to work. The creature did not wake up as he cleaned the wounds and used his emergency medical supplies to stop the bleeding. Her blood was thicker than human blood and seemed to glow slightly in the dark. It took him 2 hours to stabilize her injuries. Jake knew she needed real medical help, but he could not exactly take her to the hospital in town. People would ask too many questions, and he was not sure the government would be kind to her. Instead, he made a decision that would change his life forever. He would take her to his cabin. Jake's cabin was 5 miles away through rough forest. He had built it himself after getting out of the military, wanting somewhere quiet to think and heal from his own wounds. It was off the grid and private. No one would find them there. The problem was getting her there. She was unconscious and weighed at least 200 pounds. Jake was strong, but carrying someone that heavy through the woods would be nearly impossible. He looked around the crashed ship and found what he needed. There were strips of the same metal that made up the hull, but these were flexible like fabric. He made a stretcher and carefully moved the alien warrior onto it. The trip back took 4 hours. Jake had to stop every few hundred yards to rest and check on his patient. She stayed unconscious the whole time, but her breathing got a little stronger. That was a good sign. By the time he got her to his cabin, the sun was setting. Jake cleared everything off his dining room table and lifted her onto it. Under the bright lights of his cabin, he could see her injuries better. She was beautiful in a dangerous way. Her silver skin caught the light like armor, and even unconscious, she looked like she could kill him with her bare hands. Her claws were retracted now, but he could see where they would extend from her fingertips. Jake spent the next 3 days taking care of her. He changed her bandages, made sure she stayed hydrated, and watched for signs of infection. Her body healed faster than any human would, but she stayed unconscious. On the fourth morning, Jake walked into the room with her breakfast and found himself looking into a pair of bright yellow eyes. She was awake and sitting up on the table. Her hand was near a knife she must have taken from his kitchen. She looked at him like a wild animal, ready to fight or run. "Easy," Jake said softly, the same way he would talk to a scared horse. "I am not going to hurt you." She tilted her head and said something in a language that sounded like music mixed with growling. Her voice was deeper than a human woman's but still clearly female. "I do not understand," Jake said. He put down the tray of food and held up his hands to show he was not armed. "Do you speak English?" She watched him for a long moment. Then she spoke again, and this time he caught a few words that sounded almost like English. Double quotes, "You, ... save me," she said slowly. Jake nodded. "Yes, I found you in the crashed ship. You were hurt badly." She looked down at her bandaged wounds, then back at him. Why? It was such a simple question, but Jake was not sure how to answer it. Why had he risked everything to save a complete stranger who was not even human? "Because you needed help," he said finally. She stared at him like he had said something impossible. Then she did something that surprised him. She lowered her head and said something in her own language that sounded like a formal speech. "Thank you," she said in English. "I am Zara of the Theran people. You have saved my life, and by our laws, my life belongs to you now." Jake blinked. "What? No, that is not how it works. You do not belong to anyone." Zara looked confused. "But you saved me. In battle, that makes you my master." "I am not your master," Jake said firmly. "I am just someone who helped you when you were hurt. That is what people do." Now Zara looked really confused. "Your people help strangers? Even enemies?" "You are not my enemy," Jake said. "And yes, we help people who need it. It is the right thing to do." Zara was quiet for a long time, studying his face like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Finally, she spoke again. "I do not understand." "Your people," she said. "But I would like to learn," Jake smiled. "I would like to learn about your people too. But first, let me get you some real food. You must be hungry." As he prepared breakfast for his unusual guest, Jake wondered what he had gotten himself into. He had no idea that saving one alien warrior would change not just his life, but the fate of 2 entire species. Over the next 2 weeks, Jake learned that Zara was nothing like he expected. She healed fast, faster than any human could. By the 5th day, she was walking around his cabin like she owned the place. By the 10th day, she was doing exercises that would make Olympic athletes jealous. Jake watched her from his kitchen window as she practiced combat moves in his backyard. She moved like water and struck like lightning. Her claws would extend from her fingers when she needed them, then disappear when she was done. It was both beautiful and terrifying. "You fight like a child," Zara said one morning as Jake came outside with coffee. "Thanks," Jake said dryly. "Good morning to you too." "I did not mean to insult you," she said quickly. "Your fighting style is just very different from mine. Show me how humans fight." Jake set down his coffee and faced her. "We do not fight with claws and super strength. We fight with our brains." "Show me," she said. Jake picked up a stick from the ground. Zara extended her claws and crouched like a cat ready to pounce. Then Jake threw the stick to his left and dove to his right. Zara turned to follow the stick. Jake grabbed a handful of dirt and threw it at her eyes. Zara stumbled backward, blinking dirt away. When she could see again, Jake was behind her with another stick pointed at her back. "Dead," he said simply. Zara spun around and stared at him. "You cheated?" "I won," Jake corrected. "In war there is no cheating. There is only winning and losing." Shh. Thought about this for a long moment. "Your people use tricks. We use everything we can," Jake said. "We are not the strongest or the fastest, so we have to be smarter." "Interesting," Zara said. "Teach me more." So Jake taught her about human military tactics, how soldiers work together as teams, how they use tools and weapons to make up for their physical weaknesses, how they planned and prepared for every battle, In return, Zara taught him about Theron combat skills. She showed him how to move without making sound, how to use his whole body as a weapon, how to see an enemy's weakness before they knew they had one. But it was not just fighting they talked about. In the evenings, they would sit by the fire and share stories about their worlds. "Tell me about your family," Zara said one night. Jake showed her photo albums from his childhood, pictures of Christmas mornings with his parents and younger sister, birthday parties with friends, camping trips and family vacations. Zara looked at each picture carefully, like she was studying something. "From another planet? These are your blood relatives?" she asked. "Yes, my mom, dad, and sister Lucy." "And you all lived together in the same place till I grew up?" "Yes, that is how human families work." Zara was quiet for a long time. Theron children are taken from their mothers at birth. You're raised in training centers with other warriors. "I have never met my parents." Jake stared at her. "Never. It would make us weak," she said, but her voice sounded uncertain. "Emotional attachments interfere with combat effectiveness." "That is terrible," Jake said. "It is efficient," Zara replied. But she kept looking at the family photos. Jake told her about human holidays and traditions, about how families came together to celebrate, about how parents took care of children and children took care of aging parents, about love and friendship and all the things that made life worth living. Zara listened to everything with fascination. "Your people sound weak," she would say, but Jake could tell she did not really mean it. "Maybe," Jake said, "but we are happy." "What is happy?" Zara asked. Jake tried to explain happiness, but it was harder than he thought. "How do you describe joy to someone who has never felt it? How do you explain laughter to someone raised only for war?" Their conversations were interrupted on the 15th day when Jake's motion sensors went off. Someone was approaching the cabin through the woods. Jake grabbed his rifle and looked out the window. 3 figures in dark clothing were moving toward his front door. They moved wrong, too smooth and coordinated to be human. "Zara," he called quietly. She appeared beside him instantly, her claws already extended. She looked out the window and her face went pale. "Dominion scouts," she whispered. "They found me." "Friends of yours?" Jake asked. "They are here to take me back or kill me," she said. "Either way, you will die for helping me." Jake checked his rifle and made sure he had extra ammunition. "Not if I killed them first." "You cannot fight them," Zara said. "They are enhanced warriors. Like me, you are just human. Just human." Jake smiled grimly. "Let me show you what just human can do." The scouts kicked in his front door and rushed inside. They were tall and armored, carrying weapons that glowed with energy. But Jake was not there to meet them. He had slipped out the back door and circled around behind them. While they searched his cabin, he used skills learned in Afghanistan and Iraq. He moved quietly through the woods, positioning himself where he wanted to be. The first scout came out of the cabin, and Jake shot him from 50 yards away. The alien armor stopped the bullet, but the impact knocked the scout down. Before he could get up, Jake had moved to a new position. The second scout came looking for him, but Jake had set a trap. A rope snare caught the alien's leg and pulled him up into a tree. While he hung there struggling, Jake disabled his weapon with a well-placed shot. The third scout was smarter. He grabbed Zara and used her as a shield when he came outside. "Human," the scout called in broken English. "Ah! Surrender, or the traitor dies." Jake stepped out from behind a tree with his hands up. "Okay, you win." The scout smiled and relaxed slightly. That was his mistake. Jake had taught Zara a human trick during their training sessions. When he dropped his hands, she would know what to do. Jake dropped his hands. Zara threw dirt in the scout's eyes, exactly like Jake had taught her. While the alien stumbled backward, Jake put 3 bullets in his chest. The fight was over in less than 5 minutes. "How?" Zara asked as they stood over the defeated scouts. "Teamwork," Jake said. "You created the opening I needed." Zara looked at the scouts, then at Jake. "You risked your life for me, Gin. That is what partners do," Jake said. "Partners? People who work together? Who trust each other? Who have each other's backs?" Zara was quiet for a long moment. "I have never had a partner before." Well, you do now, Jake said, but their problems were just beginning. If scouts had found them, more would come. Jake started packing supplies while Zara used the scouts' communication device to listen to Dominion transmissions. A battle cruiser is coming, she said. They will be here in 3 days. Then we better get moving, Jake said, as they prepared to leave his cabin. Jake found Zara looking at his family photos again. I want to understand, she said softly. Understand what? What it means to have a family? What it means to be happy? Jake looked at her silver skin gleaming in the firelight, at her dangerous claws and predator's eyes. But he also saw something else now. Loneliness, curiosity, hope. Maybe I can teach you, he said. Zara met his eyes. I would like that very much. They left the cabin that night, disappearing into the Montana wilderness. Behind them, smoke rose from the burning building. Ahead of them lay an uncertain future. But for the first time in her life, Zara was not facing that future alone. She had a partner, someone who had her back. Someone who saw her as more than just a weapon. And Jake had found something he did not know he was looking for. Someone who needed him not just as a protector, but as a teacher. Someone who wanted to learn what it meant to be human. As they walked through the dark forest together, both of them wondered what they were becoming. They were no longer just a human and an alien. They were something new. Something neither of their species had seen before. They were a team. Jake and Zara spent 2 days moving through the mountains before she finally told him the truth about what he had done by saving her life. They were sitting by a small fire in a cave, eating the last of their food supplies. Jake was studying his map, trying to figure out where they could go next. Zara watched him quietly for a long time before she spoke. Jake, she said, there is something I must tell you about my people. What is it? He asked, not looking up from the map. When a Theran warrior is saved in battle by someone who shows true honor, it creates a bond that is deeper than anything else in our culture. Jake looked up at her. What kind of bond? Zara took a deep breath. It is called a battle bond. It means that person becomes more important to the warrior than their own life. More important than duty or orders or anything else. Okay, Jake said slowly. What does that mean exactly? It means, Zara said quietly, that I want to stay with you forever. Not because your laws say I belong to you, but because my heart says I belong with you. Jake stared at her. Your heart. That is the word you use, yes? For the feeling inside that makes you want to be near someone, that makes you think about them when they are gone, that makes you willing to die to protect them? Yes, Jake said. That is what we call love. Love, Zara repeated the word carefully. My people lost the ability to love long ago. The Dominion made us into perfect weapons by removing everything. That made us weak. But somehow, being with you has awakened something in me that was supposed to be dead. Jake set down his map. What are you trying to tell me? Zara stood up and walked to the cave entrance. She looked out at the stars for a long moment before turning back to him. I want to learn how to be what you call a wife, she said. I want to learn how to make a family. I want to have children who will know love instead of only war. Jake felt his heart skip a beat. Zara, we are two different species. I do not even know if that is possible. My ship's medical scanner analyzed your DNA when I was unconscious, she said. It is possible. Difficult, but possible. That is not what I meant, Jake said. I meant we barely know each other. We have been together for less than 3 weeks. How long does it take humans to know they want to be together? Zara asked. Jake thought about it. Varies. Some people know, right? Away. Others take years. I know right away, Zara said. In my culture, warriors must make decisions quickly or die. I have decided that I want to spend my life learning how to love you. Jake stood up and walked over to her. Zara, this is not a decision you make in a cave while running from your enemies. Then when? She asked. When the Dominion finds us and kills us both. When they drag me back to their breeding centers and turn me into a machine again. Breeding centers? Zara's face darkened. How do you think the Dominion makes new warriors? They take the strongest females and mate them with the strongest males. The children are taken away immediately and trained from birth to fight and kill. There's no choice, no love, no family, just efficiency. That is horrible, Jake said. Is all I have ever known, Zara replied. Until I met you. Ow. You showed me that there is another way to live, a way where people choose to be together because they want to, not because they have to. Jake looked into her yellow eyes and saw something he had never seen before. Hope, fear, vulnerability, all the things a perfect weapon was not supposed to feel. What exactly are you asking me? He said. Zara reached into her pack and pulled out something Jake had never seen before. It was a knife, but not like any knife he knew. The blade was made of the same silver material as her skin, and it seemed to glow with its own light. This is a warrior's blade, she said. It is made from metals found only on my homeworld, and it is forged with a piece of the warrior's own blood. Every Theron warrior makes one when they complete their training. She held the knife out to him handle first. If you accept this blade, it means you accept me as your battle bond. It means we will face whatever comes together as equals. It means you will teach me how to love, and I will protect you with my life. Jake looked at the knife. It was beautiful and deadly, just like Zara herself. And if I do not accept it, then I will understand, Zara said. I will still fight beside you until this is over. But when it ends, I will go my own way and never ask anything of you again. Jake could hear the pain in her voice, even though she was trying to hide it. What about children? He asked. You said you wanted to have a family? Theron females can control when they become pregnant, Zara said. If you accept my blade, and if you want children someday, then we will have them. If not, we will not. The choice will be yours as much as mine. In my culture, that choice belongs to both parents, Jake said. Then we will decide together, Zara said. Like partners. Jake took the knife from her hands. It was warm to the touch and seemed to vibrate slightly, like it was alive. This is really important to you, is not it? He said. It is everything. To me, Zara said, you saved my life, but more than that, you showed me what life could be. Before I met you, I thought I was just a weapon. Now I know I am a person. A person who can choose her own path. And you choose me, I choose you, she said firmly. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because when I think about the future, I cannot imagine it without you in it. Jake looked at the knife again, then at Zara. She was offering him something no human had ever been offered before. A chance to be the first of his kind to truly bond with an alien. A chance to help rebuild an entire species' ability to love. But it was also a huge responsibility. If he said yes, he would be responsible for teaching her things she had never learned. How to be a partner instead of a weapon. How to make a home instead of just a base. How to raise children in love instead of training them for war. If we do this, Jake said, it will not be easy. We'll have to learn everything together. The best things are never easy, Zara said. You taught me that. Jake smiled. When did I teach you that? When you carried me 5 miles through the forest to save my life? When you fought 3 Dominion scouts to protect me? When you chose to run away from your home instead of turning me over to your government? She stepped closer to him. Have already shown me what it means to choose love over safety. Now I want to make that same choice. Jake looked at the knife one more time. Then he made his decision. Okay, he said. I accept your blade. I accept you. We will figure out the rest as we go. Zara's face lit up with the first real smile he had ever seen from her. She took the knife back and cut a small line across her palm. Blue blood welled up from the cut. By blood and blade we are bonded, she said in her own language, then in English. What threatens one, threatens both. Or protects one, protects both. She handed the knife to Jake. He cut his own palm, and their blood mixed as they clasped hands. By blood and blade, we are bonded, Jake repeated. As their blood mingled, Jake felt something change between them. Not magic, but something deeper. Connection that went beyond words or species. They were no longer just Jake and Zara. They were something new. Something that had never existed before in the history of either of their peoples. They were truly bonded, ready to face whatever came next together. 2 days after their bonding ceremony, Jake and Zara watched a massive ship appear in the sky above Montana. It was black as night and bigger than any building Jake had ever seen. The Dominion battlecruiser had arrived. "How long do we have?" Jake asked as they watched from a ridge overlooking the valley. Zara studied the ship through Jake's binoculars. "We'll send search teams first. When those teams do not report back, they will start destroying everything in the area until they find us." "How many soldiers?" "At least 500. All enhanced warriors like me." Jake did some quick math in his head. 2 people against 500 enhanced alien soldiers? The odds were not good. "We need help," he said. Jake pulled out his satellite phone and started making calls. First, he called his old Marine unit leader, Lisa Rodriguez. She was now a sergeant in the Army Rangers stationed in Colorado. "Jake." Lisa's voice crackled through the phone. "Where the hell are you?" "The news is saying aliens have invaded Montana." "Lisa, I need you to trust me on something crazy," Jake said. "Can you get a team together and meet me at the old campsite near Glacier Park?" "Are you insane? There are aliens up there." "I know. I am with one of them." "Tch. She is on our side, but her people are coming to take her back. If they succeed, things will get very bad for Earth." There was a long pause. "Jake, you better not be messing with me." "I have never been more serious in my life. Give me 12 hours, Lisa said. "And this better be worth it." Jake's next call was to his friend Ben Carter, who worked for the Forest Service. Ben knew every trail and cave in the area. "Ben, I need you to evacuate everyone from the national park. Tell them there is a gas leak or something." "Jake, what is going on?" "The government has helicopters everywhere, and people are saying they saw a spaceship. Just trust me and get the civilians out. Things are about to get very dangerous." His last call was to his sister Lucy, who worked as a news reporter in Denver. "Lucy, in about 6 hours, I am going to send you the biggest story of your career. When you get it, broadcast it everywhere. The whole world needs to see it." "Jake, you are scaring me. What is happening?" "I am about to try to prevent a war," Jake said. "I love you, sis." He hung up before she could ask more questions. Zara had been listening to the calls with interest. "You're gathering your pack," she said. "My what?" "Your battle group? The humans you trust to fight beside you?" "Something like that," Jake said. "But we are not just going to fight. We're going to send a message." "What kind of message?" Jake looked at the alien ship hanging in the sky like a dark cloud. "That love is stronger than fear." Lisa arrived first with 6 Rangers. They came in 2 helicopters, flying low to avoid the alien ship's sensors. Jake met them at a landing zone Ben had cleared in secret. "Holy crap, Jake," Lisa said as she jumped out of the helicopter. "That thing is huge." "Wait until you meet my girlfriend," Jake said. When Zara stepped out from behind the trees, all 6 Rangers raised their weapons. She was 8 feet tall now, her muscles enhanced for battle, her claws extended and ready for war. "Easy," Jake said. "She is with us." "That thing is not human," one of the Rangers said. "No, she is not," Jake agreed. "But she is on our side." Lisa studied Zara carefully. She had been a soldier long enough to recognize another warrior when she saw one. "Can she fight?" Lisa asked. "Better than all of us combined," Jake said. "Can we trust her?" Who was watching the human soldiers with curious eyes. "I would trust her with my life." "You already have," Zara said quietly. Over the next few hours, Jake explained the situation to his team. Zara was a rebel fleeing from an evil empire. The Dominion wanted to take her back or kill her. If they succeeded, they would probably decide that Earth was too dangerous to leave alone. "So we stopped them," Lisa said simply. 7 humans and 1 alien against 500 enhanced warriors? Ben asked. "How? We do not fight them," Jake said. "We show them something they have never seen before." Jake's plan was simple, but dangerous. They would let the Dominion soldiers find them. But instead of running or hiding, they would broadcast everything that happened to the entire galaxy. Zara would use her knowledge of Dominion technology to hack into their communications and send the signal everywhere. "What exactly are we going to show them?" Lisa asked. "What it looks like when people choose to stand together," Jake said.
"What?"
It looks like when someone fights, not because they have to, but because they want to protect the people they love. The first Dominion search teams arrived at dawn. 20 enhanced warriors moving through the forest like silver ghosts. Zara watched them from a hilltop and shook her head. "They're hunting me like an animal," she said. "Let them come," Jake said. The team had prepared the battlefield carefully. Ben knew every tree and rock in the area. Lisa's rangers had set up defensive positions. Jake had rigged explosives in all the right places. When the first search team found their camp, Jake was sitting by a fire, drinking coffee. Zara sat beside him, her claws retracted, looking almost human in the morning light. "Warrior Zara," the team leader called out in his own language, "you will come with us now." "I will not," Zara replied in English, making sure the hidden cameras could record everything. "You have been corrupted by these humans. You must be cleansed." "I have been awakened by them," Zara said. "I remember what we used to be before the Dominion made us into weapons." The team leader signaled his soldiers to surround the camp. "You will come willingly, or we will take you." That was when Jake stood up. She said no. The alien warriors laughed. To them, Jake was just a soft human. With no claws, no enhanced strength, no natural weapons. "You cannot stop us, human," the team leader said. "Watch me," Jake replied. The battle that followed was unlike anything the Dominion had ever seen. The humans did not fight like Theran warriors with individual strength and speed. They fought like a pack, each person covering the others, using the terrain and their weapons to make up for their physical weaknesses. When one Dominion soldier charged Jake, Lisa shot him from 50 yards away. When two more tried to outflank them, Ben triggered an explosive that brought down a tree to block their path. When the team leader went after Zara, all 7 humans opened fire at once. But what really shocked the Dominion soldiers was how Jake and Zara fought together. She would create openings for him to exploit. He would provide covering fire while she moved to new positions. They moved like they could read each other's minds. "It's impossible," the team leader said as he watched his warriors fall to human tactics. "No species fights like this." "We do," Jake said as he put his rifle to the alien's head, "because we choose to." The real message, though, came when the battle was over. Jake was wounded, shot in the shoulder by an alien weapon. As Zara tended to his injury, the hidden cameras captured something the galaxy had never seen before. Warrior caring for her wounded mate with gentle hands, speaking softly to comfort him, showing love instead of just loyalty. "Why do you care so much about one human?" the captured team leader asked. "Because he taught me what it means to have something worth fighting for," Zara said. The footage went out over every Dominion communication channel. Across the galaxy, Theran warriors saw something they thought was extinct. They saw love. Within hours, reports started coming in. Theran soldiers abandoning their posts. Entire units refusing orders. The rigid discipline that held the Dominion together was cracking, but Jake knew this was just the beginning. The real battle was still coming. "They will send everything they have now," Zara said as she finished bandaging his wound. "Good," Jake said. "Let them come." "The whole galaxy is watching now. Are you ready to die for this?" Zara asked. Jake looked at his bonded mate, her silver skin gleaming in the sunlight, her dangerous beauty softened by concern for his injury. "I am ready to live for it," he said. The final battle came at sunset. The Dominion sent everything they had. Hundreds of warriors dropped from the sky like silver rain. Their general, a massive alien named Krex, led them personally. Jake and his team were ready. They had chosen their battlefield carefully, a narrow valley where the alien numbers would not matter as much. The humans took positions on the high ground, while Zara stood in the center of the valley, waiting. Warrior Zara, General Krex, called out as he landed. "You have disgraced yourself and your species. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." "I found myself and my species," Zara replied. "For the first time in my life, I know who I am. You are a weapon. Nothing more. I am a person who chooses to love," Zara said, "and I am not alone." Jake stepped out from behind cover. Then, Lisa and her rangers. then Ben and the other humans who had joined them. All of them stood with Zara, facing impossible odds. "You would die for this human?" Krex asked. "I would live for him," Zara said, "and that makes all the difference." The battle was fierce, but short. The humans fought with everything they had, but they were outnumbered 50-1. One by one, Jake watched his friends fall. Lisa went down, protecting Ben. Ben died trying to get the civilians to safety. In the end, it was just Jake and Zara against General Krex and his remaining warriors. "Enough," Krex said. "This ends now." He raised his weapon to kill Jake, but Zara threw herself between them. The energy blast hit her in the chest, and she fell to the ground, bleeding blue blood. Jake caught her as she collapsed. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I could not protect you." "You did protect me," Jake said. "You showed the galaxy what love looks like." General Krex stood over them, ready to finish what he started. Something unexpected happened. His own warriors began to lower their weapons. "General," one of them said, "we are receiving reports from across the Empire. Our people are remembering." "Remembering what?" Krex demanded. "What it was like before. What it felt like to have families, to choose our own mates, to love our children instead of just training them." On every Dominion world, Theran warriors were watching the broadcast of Jake and Zara's final stand. They saw a warrior choose love over duty. They saw a human risk everything for someone different from himself. They saw what their species had lost centuries ago, and they wanted it back. "Stand down," Krex ordered his warriors, but it was too late. They were already walking away, returning to their ships, going home to find the families they had forgotten they wanted. Within a week, the Dominion Empire collapsed. Not from war or rebellion, but from warriors simply choosing to stop fighting. For someone else's idea of perfection, General Krex found himself alone with Jake and the dying Zara. "What have you done?" he asked. "We gave your people a choice," Jake said, "and they chose love." Krex looked at Zara, bleeding in Jake's arms. "She was our best warrior." "She still is," Jake said, "but now she fights for something worth fighting." 4 or 6 months later, Jake sat in a rocking chair on the porch of his new house in Colorado. In his arms, he held 2 babies. They were small and perfect, with his dark hair and Zara's silver eyes. Alex gurgled happily as Jake fed him a bottle. Maya was already asleep, making soft sounds that were almost like purring. "How are my little ones?" Zara asked as she came out of the house. She had survived her injuries, but it had been close. The doctors said her enhanced healing, and Jake's refusal to leave her side had made the difference. She moved a little slower, but her smile was brighter than ever. "They are perfect," Jake said, "just like their mother." Zara sat down in the chair beside him and took Maya from his arms. "I still cannot believe they are real, that we made them together." "Believe it," Jake said. "You are a mother now. The first Theran mother in 300 years to raise her own children. And what am I supposed to teach them?" Zara asked. "I know how to fight and kill, but I know nothing about being a parent." "You know how to love," Jake said. "That is the most important thing." Their home had become a place of healing for both species. Former Dominion warriors came to learn about family life. Human soldiers came to learn about honor and courage. Zara had started a school where the 2 species could share their knowledge. "Jake," Zara said, as she watched their children sleep, "do you ever regret saving me that day?" Jake thought about everything that had happened. The danger, the fighting, the friends they had lost. Then he looked at his wife and children, at the peaceful life they had built together. "Never," he said. "Saving you was the best decision I ever made, even though it changed everything, especially because it changed everything." Little Alex opened his eyes and looked up at his father. Even as a baby, his gaze was intense and intelligent. Jake could see both human curiosity and Theran strength in those silver eyes. "What do you think they will become?" Zara asked. "Whatever they choose to be," Jake said. "That is the gift we give them, right to choose their own path. And if they choose to be warriors, then they will be warriors who fight for love, not for conquest. And if they choose to be peacemakers, Then they will be peacemakers with the strength to protect what they believe in. As the sun set behind the mountains, Jake and Zara sat. Together with their children, around them, their new community was settling down for the night. Humans and Therans working together, learning from each other, building something that had never existed before. "Tell me again about the day we met," Zara said. "You were unconscious in a crashed ship," Jake said. "Bleeding blue blood and looking like you could kill me with one hand. You saved me anyway. I saved a wounded warrior. I had no idea. Was saving the future mother of my children. I had no idea that the soft human who rescued me would teach me how to be strong in a completely different way." Maya stirred in her mother's arms and made a small sound. Zara sang to her softly in the Theran language, a lullaby that no Theran child had heard for centuries. "What does it say?" Jake asked. "It says, 'Sleep now, little warrior. Dream of peace and love. When you wake, the world will be full of choices, and you will be free to make them all.'" Jake smiled. "I like that. I learned it from an old recording we found in the ruins of our original homeworld. Before the Dominion changed us, we used to sing to our children. Now you can sing to ours." "Our children," Zara repeated. "I still cannot believe I get to say that." As night fell, they carried Alex and Maya inside to their cribs. The babies would grow up in a world where love was not a weakness, but a strength. Where choosing to care for someone different from yourself was seen as brave, not foolish. Jake watched Zara tuck their children into bed with the same gentle care she had once reserved for her weapons. She had learned to be soft without losing her strength. She had learned to love without losing her courage. "What are you thinking about?" Zara asked, as they stood watching their sleeping children. "I am thinking about how one crashed ship changed everything," Jake said. "Not the ship," Zara said. "One human who chose to help instead of hurt. One person who saw a wounded stranger and decided to care, and one warrior who was brave enough to learn how to love." They stood together in the doorway, watching their hybrid children sleep peacefully. Alex and Maya represented the future of both their species, a future where strength and gentleness could exist together, where warriors could also be parents, where love could conquer even the most powerful empire. "Thank you," Zara whispered. "For what?" "For showing me that there was more to life than war. For giving me a family. For loving me even when I did not know how to love myself." Jake put his arm around his wife and pulled her close. "Thank you for choosing to stay, for choosing to learn, for choosing us." Outside their window, the stars shone down on a world that was learning to be better. And inside their home, two parents watched over children who would grow up knowing that love was not just possible between different species. It was the most powerful force in the universe.